Hello everyone and welcome back to Platform 1. It's myself, Jack and Dave.
Hello.
Here once again, and we're here for episode 25 of the show.
25?
We're there already, aren't we? It's been that long. We're going to be live for the next hour or so, taking a look at, as you can see, quite a lot of different items on the desk here today, and there's a lot more for you coming up in the show as well. Do get your questions down there in the chat as well. We'll be having a little bit of a chat about each topic after we've had a bit of a chat about it, and then there'll be a Q&A at the end of the show where we'll do a few quick fire questions for Dave over here as well.
Sounds good to me. So, it's been such a great year so far. We've had a lot of new announcements coming through, some great new models. 2020 was always going to be a fantastic year for railway modelers and die-cast vehicle modelers as well. And well, we aim to please, essentially. We've got a bit of everything for everyone on today's stream, so really enjoying 2020 so far. Hope you are too. Let us know what your favourite bits have been in the chat, and let's get started, I think.
I mean, it's only just begun the year, hasn't it, really? Yes. So there's still plenty more to come too. We've already got loads of guys down here in the chat as well saying hello. We've got Jamie Smith here, says good morning, one and all.
Hi, Jamie.
It's the afternoon here now as well, isn't it? We've got Ben Davis says can't wait for the stream. Charles Curtis says hello, Jack, Dave, and everyone. Jeremy Olsenka has got a question for us actually straight off the bat. He says, when about is the Hornby 2020 catalogue due back in?
Now, we have had some stock of it through, but it did go pretty much immediately. We are due some more either later today or first thing Monday morning, so you can go on our website right now and pre-order that if you want a physical copy of the catalogue. But of course, if you want to check out the whole of Hornby's 2020 range, you can see our YouTube channel with various videos of the highlights. We have the whole range available to pre-order on our website as well. So you can either get the physical version or you can head over to our website and look through everything there now.
Do keep your eyes peeled on our article pages on the website and on our social media channels as well, because we've got a special bunch of sneak previews of a lot of the items coming through there as well, with some early samples to take a look at too. We've got 700 Shunter says good day from Australia. Hello once again.
Hello.
We've got Bluegrass Rail fan back here again, says morning everyone. Clive Cobold, hi Dave and Jack. New Junctions here in the chat says good afternoon. Robert Scott, Wyvern Model Railway says afternoon. James Akers, afternoon guys, happy new year. Happy new year to you as well. Norbert Roll, hello and greetings from Germany. And we've got Gareth Waite, another regular, saying afternoon, Jack and Dave. So hello everyone, welcome back. If it is your first time watching the show, we do this every single week. 1 hour of model railway news and discussion, really, with something for... We try to have something for everyone, really, don't we?
We do indeed, and as said, really, there is so much for everyone out there at the moment, and let's hit the ground running. Let's talk about Dapol's re-release of the GWR Streamlined Railcars. Now, these came into us this week, and this is actually the second batch, and this really has been due to popular demand, with the first series of these models selling out right away in last year when they first came out. And this replicates the 1934 built vehicles built by Gloucester RCW, known by quite a lot of people as the Flying Bananas.
That's it. Now, these were produced, as you say, around the 1930s, weren't they? And these were really the genesis of the diesel multiple unit. And they survived quite a long time, really. As you can see, there's a few colour schemes coming through on the screen there that Dapol's produced. They were in GWR initially, but they did last all the way into BR use. And they did sort of form the basis for later DMUs, such as the first gen multiple units, like your Class 101s and other multiple unit classes like that. And they were all replaced around the early 1960s. But it is interesting to see this very early development of the DMU, especially in this single car form. And as you can see here, we've actually got a new tooling variation, as you can see on the bottom half of the screen now, which covers the parcels variants, because they were actually used for parcels traffic too, weren't they?
And this was a one-off vehicle, number 17, which has been included in Dapol's model range this time, complementing the more standard passenger vehicles as well. So again, to see that, as you said, the genesis of multiple units, there was a lot of experimentation happening in the 1920s and 1930s with replacing steam power on a lot of railways. And the GWR was the only real company from the Big Four to, well, get serious about it, to be quite honest with you. The Southern Railway concentrated on a lot of third rail electrics, as we still see down there today, and the LMS and the LNER tried it a little bit, but mainly stuck with their steam power. But the GWR really went for the modern looking units and the Art Deco style that you can see there as well, the streamlined front and the huge windows on the side, seeing the interiors. That is the 1930s style right there on these models.
It is such an iconic look, isn't it? And you can really see why they were called a Flying Banana, because of that shape. It's, you know, I think it's always a testament to a class when it does earn a moniker like that as well. So it just shows you that it was that important, that it deserved to have a bit of a daft nickname, really.
Absolutely. But let's talk about the model. And the model lives up to the hype of the real units
really
as
does.
well. With one of these still in preservation that you can see at the National Railway Museum as well. There are similar AEC rail cars that are coming through and preserved too. But the Gloucester model here with the huge streamlined front there as well. Full cab interiors and passenger interiors as well. Under the hood, you've got an 8-pin digital socket in there, including space for a really nice big sound speaker so you can replicate those Rolls-Royce engines that it had. Going through there as well, you have the variations on the underframe with the different covers for the bogies as well, whether it's the full streamlining or the part streamlined variations on there too. You do have a single drive bogie on this, but you have pickups on all 8 wheels as well. So they don't have couplings on the end because they were mainly made to run together. Sorry, on their own, should I say. But at the same time, it does cover a huge amount of power in there as well. Really quiet, smooth running, as we know to expect from Dapol's double gauge diesels and DMUs now.
Absolutely. Whenever we've had one of these to run, they've been absolutely beautiful runners, haven't they? And there is some features like this full interior lighting on these as well, isn't it? Which
there
really
is,
makes a big impact. With something with windows as gigantic as that,
Yeah.
it makes such a difference to have the lighting in there. Especially if you wanted to fit some passenger figures too. That is really easy thanks to the body shell there. So I think, you know, it is a really fantastic model for you GWR guys.
It is a fantastic opportunity for maybe a modeler starting off or beginning as well to put some passengers in there and really start with that basic level of detail. And it's really easy to get the body off these as well and get into that interior, add passengers, add a driver, maybe add some more detail to the seating in there as well. So if you are a 30s modeler, and a Great Western branch line is a really common model too, so that is a part of it. And you've got to look at it there because a lot of Great Western modelers have steam locos and branch line locos, and this really does bring the modern DMU right back into that 1930s, 1940s era.
It really does. We'll give you one more chance to take a look at these now. We'll just get it on screen now. And these are available for quite a great price as well, really. You know, when you consider this is an entire train in one unit, isn't it? So it is, you know, coming through here at £126.40 digital ready, or £151.90 with factory digital fitting in there. And obviously, if you like, you can get them digital fitted by us if you buy a digital ready one in the future as well. But that is a great price for, like we say, it's a full train here that you're getting for £126, which, you know, it's not that much really when you think about it.
It is, and another great thing here is as well is a lot of the details already pre-applied there as well. You can see the variations in front of us here with the different skirts on the bogies and otherwise. The variations you can add are some of the lamps to the front as well, which do come in the detailing pack for this. So there is still some opportunity for you to get your glue and your tools out and customize these a little bit as well. But with variations right from the 1930s into the early 1960s, whether you're moving passengers or goods on your layout, there is one of these for you if you're a Great Western or Western Region modeler.
That's it. It's nice to see all these variations covered, and especially now in this new batch with this newly tooled parcels variant in there as well. It's just fantastic to have the whole story of that class fully available to modelers. And of course, we've got those really popular liveries coming through once again. So if you did miss it the first time, it's a perfect chance to get it now. Click that link down in the description. You can find out all you need to know about the model and order yours today. I would recommend getting your order in as well because that first batch did go pretty quickly, didn't it?
Only a few weeks we had them for, and I don't think this one's going to hang around much longer. So do show an interest in these. Click that link in the description if you'd like one.
That's it. Let's have a look at what people say in the chat. We've got Onno Mulder here, says awesome rail car. They really are. Norbert Roll, beautiful rail cars as well. Bluegrass Rail Fan asks if any of them made it into preservation. Now, it's a bit complicated, isn't it? Because there was a few different types.
Of this particular type, just the one at the National Railway Museum. But as you said, there are a few different types there as well, of the AEC rail cars, of which 2 survived.
That's pretty incredible.
So free all around, but one of these particular vehicles. Unfortunately, none of the parcels cars there.
That's a shame, isn't it? But I suppose there was only the one, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So we've got Bluegrass Rail Fan again, says early example of aerodynamics, I guess, here with that one. Flying Scott says the valances over the wheels of the A4s were a nightmare to deal with, and he couldn't imagine how the fitters would feel about valances over tiny pokey wheels like that.
I have a feeling it was similar, which is why the early liveries have them, but the later liveries don't. So I imagine that during wartime conditions, etc., it was a great excuse to take those as well. As away, should I say, sorry. Really nice part of the styling, gives them a really characterful image. but a bit of a nightmare to keep going in real life. So as soon as they could come off, they did.
I think a few of those panels strategically went missing at one point in the factory or the depot. We've got Medway Peninsula Model Railway says think they'll go for the BR Chocolate and Cream digital fitted version.
Yes.
It's a beautiful livery on that. We've got Lakota Thirav says, did the TPO version drop and pick up mail like a coach version would have?
It did not. No, it didn't drop and pick up mail at speed as the travelling post offices did. It was a more traditional stop in a station and he would remove and load up with various parcels and bags, etc. So as far as I'm aware, they had no sorting equipment inside for the mail as well. It was just a case of moving the mail around the country.
Chuck it in and chuck it out again.
Pretty much.
We've got SLD51 says, does the GWR railcar have directional lighting?
It has front lighting as per the real unit, should I say there, but the rear lighting is actually on the headlamps and the tail lamps, so you can fit those on yourself. It isn't working, but you do get cosmetic tail lamps to put on there. But as per real life, it did have a small headlight at the top, but at the rear, you put on an oil lamp or something similar in real life.
It's a case of those early days of this sort of traction, wasn't it? They weren't quite sure what the case was with lighting at that point, did they? So, bit of an early example there. We've got Joe Light Railway says, hi Jack and Dave, I'm planning to buy one of the GWR Streamlined Railcars this spring, and he's really looking forward to it. And then we've got Jeremy Olsvenka says, loves the Post Office and Parcels version there as well.
I can't think of something that's been like this for quite a few years now, since the Lima model of the GWR railcar quite a few years ago in this parcels guise as well. So great opportunity for Western modellers just to have something really different, but
it's totally unique, isn't it?
Great details on their layout as well.
Absolutely, and a solid performer there as well. Yeah. Right, where do you want to head to next? Because we've got a lot of great items here on the table.
Oh, if it's my choice again, let's head this side a little bit. Let's head to the 27s.
Yeah, I think that's more your thing, isn't it?
This again is a new batch of a popular model that's been before, and some great new liveries coming through as well. This is the 00 scale Class 27. A lot of our fans of diesel and electric watching today will know that these ran in Scotland, but also around the Midlands in their early life too. So we see some great liveries coming through here, really getting into the 1980s, 1970s guises of when they were getting individualised by depots. So we see a lot of the Scottish embellishments there. We see the Scottie Dog, as we just saw, from Eastfield Depot in Glasgow. There's also variations with Highland Stag from Inverness and the Castle Depot from Haymarket, representing Edinburgh Castle on there as well. So some real options for modellers of Scotland there who... You've got to have your favourite depot if you model a Scottish layout in that era. So an option for everyone with these really popular characterful locos.
You really do. Now, if you're not too sure about the history of the Class 27, there was 69 of them produced between 1961 and 1962 down at Birmingham RCW. They were essentially a more powerful version of the Class 26, really, weren't they? So a bit of an advancement on that popular class there. And as you say, they were most famous for the use in Scotland, but they did see quite a bit of usage across the UK, really, before that. They got moved around a little, but they did sort of found their feet in Scotland, really.
They did indeed.
And were most popular for use up there. And these were mixed traffic locos, so they were used on quite a variety of passenger and freight duties, really. But a lot of passenger work in there as well, wasn't there? So quite useful for modellers too, because you can use it with quite a lot of different wagons.
They've got to be one of the most varied smaller diesels out there for what you can run them with as well. As you mentioned, they were used on some small freight traffic across the Highlands of Scotland, passenger duties there as well, but they actually served for a period operating the fastest express trains between Glasgow and Edinburgh as well, with one locomotive at each end and 4 or 5 coaches in the middle. Some of them were uprated so they could go a little bit faster. So when you think of express trains, it's not always the big glam locomotives, it's maybe the Class 27s as you see here. So you've also got an express loco in that small size as well.
Yeah, you really don't expect that from a locomotive like this, do you? You don't see them as a big express diesel, but they were used for that.
They did have the time.
And as you were touching on, there's quite a few different variations here in Helgen's latest batch of these classic locos. On screen right now, you've got that classic BR green livery. There is also the two-tone green that's come through here, and there is quite a few different variations of the BR blue. As you can see there is a weathered version as well, and there is a BR green weathered example in there.
Helgen have really gone to town on the differences and details within this class, with 69 of them produced in real life. They all did have their own individual characteristics and modifications throughout their lives as well. And some of them we see here in front of us. We can see the tablet catcher recess there for catching the token to allow you onto different parts of line on the green 26. Heading over onto the blue ones, we see the differences in the underframe equipment there as well, whether they were fitted with vacuum or air brakes in real life. various different variations in the colour schemes as well, really minor little differences in the numbers and the embellishments as well, and Helgen really have poured over the research. We can tell that by the variations they've made, and it does cover the class from start to finish as well, whether you want one in the original 1960s style to run amongst your steam locomotive collection, or right through to the late 1980s when they'd made the mark on the Highlands and were just coming out of service. And of course, with 8 of them in preservation too, as we say often, there's some great opportunities to have these on a present day layout as well.
There's always an opportunity there, isn't there, really? And the model itself, performance-wise, is absolutely fantastic. You've got your full digital capability in there, really high levels of detail, as you will have been able to see from the shot there and ones that we've got on the table here. Of course, as Dave pointed out, there's quite a few different tooling variations in there as well, which is really nice to see. I didn't actually know that was a token collector on the side there. I was always curious about what that was for. So I've learned something here today. Hope you guys have as well. You've got all-wheel drive in this as well. Die-cast chassis in there, really powerful 5-pole motor, and you've got directional lighting too. So it is really packed with features, this one, and it's a great classic model from Helgen, really, but really nice to see this one back in the range.
And they come in at a fantastic price point as well of $118.96 for the standard versions, or the weathered comes in at $127.46. And one thing we've really seen about a lot of Scottish themed layouts in 00 as well is, if you look through some of the history there, especially in the 1970s and 1980s, you'll find that a lot of these locomotives run with really traditional looking trains. So whereas the rest of the network across the UK was really modernising with items such as the advanced passenger train and the high-speed train, these locomotives still ran around with 2 or 3 coaches, maybe a couple of goods wagons as well. It really was still the steam train era, but with different locomotives. So
I think that's why it has such a cult following up of that sort of period, doesn't it, really? So
you've got a great opportunity there to get a locomotive and a couple of coaches, and you have an authentic rate for a Scottish layout. So if you're a modeller who's thinking of a new project, you haven't quite got the space for the huge depot layout or the massive mainline station you were thinking of, a Scottish terminus or a part of the Highlands is a really iconic, eye-catching place you can model. We've not actually a lot of locos and a lot of stock to need.
That's it, and there's quite a lot of selection out there for you guys at the moment if you do want to get into something like that. There's a lot for these to haul. There's a lot of stuff on the horizon that's coming out that will really work well with these, and there's a lot of great other locomotives that compare well with these as well.
And if you check out our website as well, check out the link in the description, not only for more details on these 27s, but also we have done a formations guide for Scotland in the 1980s as well, and 27s are included in there, so you can see some of the authentic rates that they carried, some of the supporting rolling stock as well. So if we have piqued your interest with modelling that era, take a look at that. But again, if you need any more advice on that or anything else at all, Model Railways really, get in touch with our customer experience guys and we'll give you a hand.
That's it. Let's have a look at the comments anyway and see what people are saying. We've got Taze here, says the weathering doesn't look too bad on the 27. Now this is something I've noticed with quite a lot of Helgen locomotives recently, is there is some phenomenal factory weathering coming through. This is absolutely sublime on this, and I believe the BR Green weathered version is actually even muckier than this one if you wanted to go for an extremely weathered version. I think this is lightly weathered, but it really is impressive. You've got a really nice fade up on the cab there, a lot of attention paid to the underframe and on the body sides too, and obviously on the roof detail around the exhaust there. It really is quite impressive, and it's something we're seeing from a lot of different Helgen locomotives coming through now.
We are seeing, I think across the industry as a whole really, we're seeing a great improvement in factory weathering now, where it isn't just a spray of brown on the underneath and job done, so to speak. Time is being taken and care's being made to make sure that they do replicate the real locomotives, because unfortunately not a lot of them did stay clean for too long really, and having a weathered locomotive really can add realism to a layout as well. And as you mentioned, there is a green weathered version too that we do have really high definition pictures if you click that link in the description if a green weathered one is for you.
That's it. We've got Clive Cobbold says, I have 2 Helgen 27s and 1 26 in the fleet of locos and they are really great. We've got SLD51 says, did the Class 27 pull Mark III coaches?
It wouldn't have pulled Mark III coaches, no, unless maybe on a very rare occasion rescuing another train. They were mainly used in Scotland on Mark I coaches heading through the Highlands on some of the lines to Fort William and Inverness and that sort of area. But between the Scottish cities of Edinburgh and Glasgow, they're actually used on Mark II coaches in BR Blue Grey. But you can buy all of those. They're all available at the moment as well, so you can really replicate some of those iconic parts of history of the Scottish diesel scene.
A lot of opportunities out there, isn't there, at the moment? We've got Ono Mulder says 27030 is very nice, weathered. John Fenney says bought the heavily weathered green 27001 a week ago. a beautiful looking locomotive, and the actual loco is at the Bowness and Kinneil Railway in Scotland. So again, there's that opportunity there for current modelers to get something preserved onto your layout as well.
And that was the green version you mentioned before there as well. If anyone else is interested, do take a look.
That's it, plenty of choice here. We've got James Akers says, loving the look of the 27, just being paid today, so tempted to get one of those. We might be able, hopefully we've tempted you here with that. We've got Jamie Smith says, yes, class 27033 in BR Blue, clean version, looks really nice. 700 shunter, double head the class 27 with an LNER J27 perhaps.
Ooh, could be an idea, certainly with the earlier model there, because you've got that northeast history with the J27 and then the Scottish Lowland history with the class 27.
Yeah.
So could have been a pairing, and certainly in preservation as both still survive as well.
Anything goes on a model railway anyway, it's up to you. We've got Jamie Smith again, says, good price for the 27s. I take it they are DCC ready, and are they 8-pin?
They are indeed, yes. 8-pin socket right in the middle, really easy to get the body off these as well. You don't need to worry about any screwdrivers. It is just unclip and lift.
Yeah.
And then you've got space for a really big sound speaker in there as well. And I've got to admit, I'm a bit of a fan of the Sulzer power units in these with the really iconic tip-top sound to them as well. So you can get a really great speaker in there, really good sound project, and we do offer a sound fitting service on these as well. So all the details of that are on the products in the description if you really want to replicate that iconic noise and scene of one of these on your layout.
You've enjoyed a few trips behind these, haven't you?
Yeah, a little bit of a fan. As you may have guessed, I've not hidden it well, I think.
We've got Flying Scott says, I was looking into Scottish diesels, and once again Hattons come to the rescue. Just the info and the models that I'll need. So
fantastic. As said, do check out that formations guide on our website as well. If you're really looking into Scottish diesels within this era, that is one of the best places to go for a bit of advice. But if that doesn't quite get there for you, if you need even more than that, get straight in touch with us, get in touch with our customer experience guys, and we'll always point you in the right direction.
That's it. We've got Taze again, says, yeah, I agree, Helgen do the best factory finish weathering in their opinion. And then we've got SLD51 asking, does the 27 have cab lights?
It does not, no. It has directional lights, so it has the head code lighting up and the rear tail lights on the bottom there as well.
That's it. Right, well, we've got two bigger diesels here. Well, bigger, but they're smaller at the same time. Bit confusing there. But I think we're going to have to talk about these, aren't we?
Yeah.
These are Helgen's new Class 03 locomotives, which are completely newly tooled, I believe, aren't they?
This is the first time they've been out. This is a whole new model and the first time we've had these available to order.
That's it. Now, we've got a few different variations here. You'll be seeing them coming through on the screen now. We've got 4 models in different BR green livery. So you've got this sort of very early full green yellow ends on there, and then the later wasp stripe variations too. Now, there's actually a couple of tooling variations on these locomotives as well, as you will have seen. There is the conical exhausts on the front and also the flowerpot exhaust, so there's just a few different types of those there, and it is great to see that these different variations are coming through, because this was one of the BR's most successful diesel mechanical shunter classes, really, wasn't it? And it saw a lot of use over the years.
It is. This was one of the original designs, really, produced right back in 1957, but the design itself harks back until the late 1930s. A lot of people have already commented saying they look a lot like steam engines there as well, with the chimney and the cab at the back, and they do have that image, and you can see where the development from small shunting steam locomotives came from.
Looks a bit like a Hunslet, sort of, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got that look to it, really, the connecting rods and the chimney and the cab at the front there as well. And these were built in Doncaster, between Doncaster and Swindon, and really used alongside things like the Class 08 shunter there as well, right up until the late 1980s. A couple of them survived on the Isle of Wight into the 1990s as well, but there was still one that ran with various companies until First Capital Connect in London that survived until 2008.
It's unbelievable, that, isn't it, really? A 1950s diesel mechanical shunter still working on the main line in 2008, which is just a testament to its design, really, and how reliable it was.
From what I understand, it was a little bit of a pet of one of the depots as well, so they always kept it in good mechanical condition, made sure it was the cleanest and best item of rolling stock. Even though it didn't haul passengers or was rarely seen by passengers, it was always the pride of the fleet there as well. But this comes back right to the start of the story rather than right at the end. As Jack mentioned, these are some of the first liveries carried by the class throughout the 1960s. There was hundreds and hundreds of these locomotives, about 230 of them made in real life. So really good opportunities to get them on a layout there as well.
Absolutely. Now, of course, we've got this early period of the locos that you can see here, but that's not all that Helgen are bringing out. We've got these ones available now, but there will be further variations due in the future, which I'll have on screen for you right now. Now, as you can see, there's quite a variety here that are coming through. You've got different BR blue colour schemes, you've got this industrial yellow colour scheme, which is quite an interesting one, and then you've also got industrial dark blue as well, so quite a few different options for running them there. And again, these still have those tooling variations in place, so you've got the different exhaust types and a few other little modifications there as well.
And that showcases a really important part of the history of the Class 03 as well, that many of these locomotives were sold off into private ownership following their use by British Railways. Some of them even went abroad as well, with some of the locomotives working in Italy until recently as well. So some great opportunities for international modellers there, but to produce some of those industrial colour schemes means that you don't have to have a British Railways layout to operate these on. You can have a small industrial siding or something along those lines too. And another point as well, as some of the more eagle-eyed viewers have already seen, these are available in numbered and unnumbered versions as well. So if you do have a favourite member of the class, or you've seen one of the many in preservation still out there as well, you can replicate your own locomotive, or you can have it pre-numbered if that suits you. And we do sell the transfers as well.
That's one of the beauties of O-Gauge, really, isn't it? There's a lot of customization potential here. Obviously, we've actually got some examples here. So this one's unnumbered at the front there, but then you have got D2011 here. So if you do want to just pick one up, get it off the shelf, get it straight running on your layout, you can do that. If you want to customize it up to exactly how you want it to be, you've got that choice there as well. And of course, as Dave says, we've got all the transfers you need to get those looking correct. But of course, with the liveries as well, there's a lot of potential there, because being such a passed around industrial shunter, they were quite often kept in very basic liveries, really, weren't they? So those industrial yellows and those industrial blues, a lot of opportunities there to get them onto any layout, really, in an industrial setting. And if you did want to customize that to potentially be belonging to a specific company that's out there, or even a fictional company that you've made up for your layout, it's so easy to do that with it being in such a base color scheme, really.
That's a really good point, actually. And another point you mentioned before is just getting these on the layout and getting them going as well. And Helgen's 03 has got to be one of the best O-Gauge models for that. It's pretty much ready to go out of the box. You've no details there to add on. All your brake pipes and your couplings and the full cab interior is already pre-fitted. There is nothing for you to add out of the box, unless you wanted to add a crew or add some further weathering, for example. But it really is crammed full of details there as well. A lot of the etch parts on the fronts and ends too, with the various grills and chevrons on there. You've got a full cab interior with all the gears represented as well, flush glazing there. And a great option for digital users as well is that these are 21 pin ready, so you can use a standard digital decoder in these as well, so you don't need to worry about doing any soldering. It's a case of taking the body off, putting in a 21 pin decoder and getting it going on digital.
You can probably see I've just been admiring this one for a little while here. It's something I quite often do on the show, is just have a nice little browse at this. But it is really impressive, this one. It goes to show that it's not always about, as you mentioned before, it's not always about the big express and huge locomotives out there with the high detail. You can still have something that's absolutely exquisite in a smaller form factor. The cab interior on this is particularly special. There's a lot of detail in there. You've got like the handbrake wheel there, which is nice and separately fitted, and a lot of other parts in there, all picked out in different colours too, so it is really nice to look at. Of course, with a shunter like this, huge windows there to aid the visibility in the yard. So on the model, you've got to have it fully detailed in there as well. So it is absolutely gorgeous, this. And I believe it is lit, this cab, as well, isn't it?
It is indeed. It's got fully working cab lighting. It's got fully working directional lighting there as well. And we have had one off the plinth and run it as well, because with a shunter, you've got to make sure it runs at proper shunting speeds as well, really down to a crawl. And as you'd expect with any Helgen locomotive, and pretty much any O-Gauge locomotive as well, really, these run right down to a crawl, perfect for shunting on layouts. But in real life, they had a maximum speed of 27 miles an hour, so you could get them going up a little bit if you wanted to out on your main line as well.
It's quite nippy for a shunter, really, isn't it? Because a lot of them could only really do under 20 miles an hour. But I think even the Class 08s were early 20s, weren't they? So it's pretty quick for a shunter, really, isn't it? So I believe this has been geared as well to make sure that it can perform at those lower speeds as effectively as possible. So it is designed to run at those at a shunting speed, really. But it again, it is just a beautiful model, this, and it is great to see what is really quite an important class in shunters replicated in O-Gauge finally, really. I think it's something that it really adds to that collection of other smaller O gauge items that we've seen coming through, and it really provides quite a good jumping off point for getting into O gauge. Obviously, we've had the 08s and other small locos coming through, but it's just another great one to add to the collection, really, isn't it?
It is indeed, and they complement a lot of what's gone before as well, with Dapol's own Class 08 shunter, as well as steam locomotives such as the Ginty and the Terrier and the Pannier tanks there as well. Now, the 4 BR green liveries that we see here are available to order right now. We do have those in stock, and they are $335.75 each. And the later liveries that we touched on previously as well, the BR blues and the industrial colour schemes, will be with us between February and March. So not too long to wait for the later liveries, but the BR greens we can do right now.
That's it. So you head to that link in the description and you can order those right now and find out all you need to know about the models too. We'll just give you another quick look at the upcoming versions as well. So obviously you've got those BR blue colour schemes coming in there. Again, you've got your unnumbered and numbered versions. So if you want to pick one and get it going right off the shelf, you can. But if you want to get that customization in there, you can get that as well. Quite a variety here. Obviously this interesting industrial dark blue there, which is a little bit different to the regular BR blue, and obviously the industrial yellow sort of sand livery there as well. And these will have, as with this initial batch, same level of intense detail on there, nice accurate tooling variations, and all of the other features that you'd expect from a Helgen O gauge loco. And
there's some great opportunities to replicate a wide variety of real-life operations of these as well. As we've touched on, with them being shunting locomotives, they could handle smaller rakes as well as shunting a small yard, but the Class 03s were also known for being station pilots as well, so a lot of station duties and shunting various coaching rakes, etc. So if you do have a larger layout and you've already got a lot of stock available, these can complement that as well. Do a scene at York and Norwich and Scarborough and places such as that. I believe Newcastle had quite a few as well. So even on a busy station scene surrounded by larger mainline locomotives, or in a really small shunting yard, or on a completely individual industrial site as well, you've got a great opportunity to get an 03.
That's it. Even, again, like we were talking about preserve railways before, there's a lot of these locomotives in preservation. Some are even used to haul full passenger services now as well, of course. So there's an opportunity there for you as well. Right, we've got Bluegrass Railfan here. Says, why are O gauge items on wooden blocks?
Now that is something that's come around over the past few years as a ship. So they're actually on these wooden blocks to aid with the shipping of them as well, because there is so many different tiny parts, as you can see on the front there. They are a little bit delicate to shift really, and move around the world essentially, from where they're produced to come to us, and then we ship them on to various others. The wooden blocks actually secure them in place, so they really are there, you know. So I was really hoping that worked.
I was going to say that was...
So they really do keep them secure and safe, and with foam padding around them as well. It's just to make absolutely certain that they get to you in the absolute tip-top condition as you see them here. But it is something that's really easy to detach. You can see that it is just 2 screws on the bottom, as you see. So really good to make sure that they get to you in that condition, just making sure they're safe, secure, reliable there as well. But at the same time, all the details come on, and they are really easy to get off there when they come to you as well.
It's a bit of a weird analogy, this, where it's almost like the way they put extra air in crisp packets to make sure the crisps are safe.
It's a good point.
It is literally just to make sure that it gets to you safely.
Yeah, it's a really intelligent idea, and it's not been around too long in O gauge now, so it's a really great question to ask what it's there for, and hopefully that's answered it.
That's it. I'm not sure that's really something that's been asked before, so that's a great question there. We've got, sorry, I don't quite have the name for this one, but I said the 47s and the 50s were my favourite UK diesels last week. The Class 03 and the 04 might be up there as well. They remind me of switches here in the US on short lines, and the Class 1s as well.
There are some definite sort of styles there, as well as steam locomotives, but a lot of those 1940s, 1950s US designs had that big cab at one end as well, with the bonnet going straight down. Quite similar to the Class 20 in the UK as well. If you're a fan of your American switches, do check out those Class 20s, and you'll see a lot of similarity in the design there too.
That's it. Thanks Bluegrass Railfan for that great comment there as well. 700 Shunter says the BR Class 03 and the Terriers are great starter O gauge locomotives. They really are. There is a really great expanding choice for O gauge models now. There is a lot coming through. And as you say, there is quite a few different great starter locomotives here, but even though, you could call them a starter locomotive, you're still getting the same level of detail and the same level of features as you would with any high-end O-gauge locomotive, really. So it just helps that with being a smaller size, it's just a good entry point, really.
That's it. There's no compromise in the level of details and fittings here as well between Helgen's larger locomotives and the smaller ones too. So as we mentioned previously, there's some great opportunities to get them side by side, and they do look really good together there as well. So if you've already got an O-gauge collection underway, or you're thinking of starting one, there's some great opportunities to start large or small.
That's it. We've got Bluegrass Railfan again, and he says, just on the retirement of the locos, he imagines finding parts for it got pretty much impossible to find at that point.
It is something that gets quite tricky with older locomotives, and it is a bit of a side story really, but it's one thing they find in preservation, certainly in the UK and mainly with steam locomotives, that it's quite hard to go and get the pieces off the shelf, so to speak. So a lot of things are made now or produced, and unfortunately quite a bit more expensive as well to have those spare parts. But with a lot of more modern locomotives, there are engines saved that unfortunately will never run again because they are saved for spare parts really. So it's a bit of a tricky one to get hold of some bits and pieces, especially the more specialist engine parts, but the guys and girls who preserve these locomotives in real life do have that in hand, and some really great opportunities there as well. It's a fascinating world, the world of railway preservation.
I think you could do a whole show on that.
Certainly could do a whole series, I think. So.
We've got SLD51 asks, what's the minimum radius of the O-gauge 03?
The minimum we've got it round in testing is the standard Pico set track curves, which I believe are about 5 foot. Now, I'm pretty sure that it will get round more than that. That's the furthest we tried it, to be quite honest with you, is it's pretty much the tightest we have available. And they did get round that with absolutely no issue, but the 03s were well known in real life for being able to negotiate some tight curves in dockyards, etc. So 5 foot, absolutely. Certainly lower than that. As to how low you'll go, not quite sure, but there's certainly more to go than below 5 feet.
That's it. Nice small wheelbase on these as well, so it shouldn't really have much of an issue there. James Akers says the industrial yellow on the 03 really suits it. It does. It's quite an interesting livery, that one. Joe Light Railway says the 03 does look nice in O-gauge, and that is the loco that I like to start with. Livery he's going to go for is BR Blue.
Sounds like a good start, because there's quite a few in preservation in that livery as well.
And there's quite a bit of choice in model form here too. Yeah. Nathan says the other White also had an 03 in NSC days in NSC livery, which would have been fascinating to see. Maybe that's something we'll see from Helgen at some point in the future as well.
They did indeed. They actually had 2 there as well, and on those locomotives they did cut the cabs down as well to manage to get them through one of the tunnels on the Isle of Wight too. So they were some of the last in operation, and that Network South East one was actually the one that came back and ran until 2008. Right. So it didn't only last until the end, it carried that unique Network South East livery too, so a real celebrity.
Bit of a fascinating one there. I'm sure that's something we might see in the future as well, hopefully.
With that amount of history, I think so.
It's got to be done, hasn't it? We've got Gareth Waite says, love those 03s. Between that and the 08, it's almost worth getting into O-gauge for. Now, that's what bit you really, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And then we got Jamie Smith again, says 03 in cream looks nice. So I think they're onto a winner with the yellow livery there. So quite a few people going for that one, I think. It's
a really good thing I find with British Railways diesels is you get a lot of greens and a lot of blues, and they are the most popular colour schemes and heading into the late privatisation liveries. But especially with these smaller locomotives, you get some really unusual liveries as would be carried by these locomotives, and I think they really do stand out and sort of sit up and make you take notice of them.
Absolutely.
When you don't get a lot of yellow diesel shunting locomotives, as soon as you see one, it's oh right, okay, so it's really something to take a closer look at, and great opportunities to get one onto your layout.
I think there is a lot of popularity behind the 03 as well, just because of the fact that Thomas the Tank Engine is always similar in design to Mavis and the other shunters in there, so I think a lot of people have a bit of a connection to them for that reason as well.
Good point.
Right, now for something completely different, I think. Okay. We've got some new die-cast announcements from Northcord Models, and the first of which is some new liveries for their really very popular Enviro 400 MMC bus, which we'll have on screen for you right now. So we've got quite a few different liveries here, some covering, as you can see, use in Ireland as well as the UK. We've got Dublin bus, Transport for Ireland there. We've got Enzyme bus coming back over to the UK again there in this very striking blue and grey colour scheme, which is very modern. You've also got Stagecoach Gold, down in Oxford, I believe that's used. And then you've also got quite a few other variations coming through. You've got Stagecoach Coastliner, Explore Dundee, as you can see on the screen right now, Stagecoach Northwest, Lakes Connection, and then you've got National Express West Midlands as well, as you can see on screen right now. So this is just adding even more variations to what is already quite a huge range of Enviro 400 MMCs.
This really has been an explosion of these models over the past 18 months or so. A lot of great new liveries have come out recently as well, and to see 7 new liveries announced at once here just shows how much of the country these buses now cover, with these particular variations being produced in real life since 2014 as well, with them being an advancement of the earlier Enviro 400. There's several different body configurations, power types in there too, and a lot of you will have seen these on your local bus routes as well, with, as we saw from some of the liveries there, they're all over the country. There's some really great parts that are seen in as well, and you can't really miss them in real life now, can you?
You can't go to a city and not see an Enviro 400 MMC, really. We've got them up here in Liverpool, you've got them in pretty much every major city, and they operate on country routes as well. They're one of those go everywhere, do anything buses, really. You can really see them on a lot of different routes. And Northcote's captured this important bus, really, in a fantastic model, really. It's one we featured on the stream before, and it's something that we've had in the range for a while now, and it is really a lovely item. You've got really highly detailed body on there, fully die-cast, of course. You've got a detailed interior, which have got variations with the paintwork inside for the different models. There is tooling variations in there too. So what's really interesting about these buses is there's actually different mirror types. You've got your standard normal style bus mirrors, shall we say, the big fold out ones, but then some of them do actually have camera pods on the sides and then screens inside for the driver to view the mirrors on that way, so they are tooled up for those as well. And then there is different destination blind types as well, so there's quite a few different digital destination display options there. And all of these liveries that you will have seen there, they'll all be very expertly applied to the body as well, as with all the rest of the range that we've had, really.
And these are coming in a staggered release over the next few months, so various liveries at different points, but they will all have arrived with us by the end of the spring as well. So they are coming through in 1s and 2s, but the whole variations are available to pre-order right now and coming through soon as well. But we have got further models already in stock as well of other liveries, but having a look at some of the ones to come through here as well, it just shows you some of the varieties in the colour schemes here. We were talking before about some of the varieties on the Class 03 shunter, but the bus world is really where you start to get a lot of the colours of the rainbow coming through on pretty much the same types of vehicle there as well, showing the individuality of the operators there. And some of those tooling options are coming through in these photos too, of the different mirror types and the destination blinds as well. So some great opportunities to get these onto, well, a 00 layout as they are in 00 scale as well.
That's it, and it even just forms a great part of any bus collection there as well, if you wanted to have it just on your display units. But it's a beautiful model that's coming through, and it's great to see this one coming back with some more different parts of the country being explored there, because they are such a widely used and quite important bus model that's coming through. Now we've got a few comments coming in here already. We've got SLD51 says these buses look like the ones they use in Hong Kong. So a lot of the buses that we do get in the UK are used in Hong Kong as well, because of course they drive on the left, just like we do in the UK. So they do commission the same bus manufacturers that we have to produce their buses too. So ADL, Wright Bus, and a few others, I believe, do produce buses for over there as well, which is quite fascinating. We've got Graham MCK says, great news from Northcote. The Explore Dundee is one as a Scottish modeler I'm looking forward to, and he's already got the Northcote 400 MMC so far in another livery as well. We've got Jamie Smith says, I have a few of the Northcote buses and they're really nicely detailed inside. And then we've got Jeremy Alsenka says, I have seen West Midlands Stagecoach Gold. And we've got one more coming through from Jamie Smith, which is, yes, that Gold West Midlands is a must. Now, it's something you see with, you were just touching on before about the liveries being really varied and exciting in the bus world. Now, on road transport, the competition is even bigger than it is with railways. So they really have to make their mark and come out with some of these really exciting liveries. Of course, quite often you'll see a lot of advertising on the side for free Wi-Fi and comfortable leather seats, and this runs every 5 minutes and stuff like that. So there's so much variation out there, loads of quite weird and wonderful colour schemes that come through on the buses, just to try and make people take a ride on the bus as much as possible.
And of course as well, these are great opportunities to get onto a 00 gauge layout with the sheer variety of modern liveries on the railways as well. Having a corner with either a bus depot or a little stretch of road with a bus stop on it is a really great opportunity to get these on there as well. But as well as bringing through the really up-to-date Enviro 400, Northcord are bringing back the Alexander ALX 400 as well in the range, which is actually an open top vehicle as well, and this is a relaunch of a model we've not seen for quite a few years in the range now, with 2 more being produced in the liveries we see here.
That's it, we've got a couple of fascinating liveries here. We've got the Mega Sightseeing livery, as used down in London, I believe, and then we've got this Northwestern Stagecoach White Lady colour scheme, which I believe is used up in the Lake District, so we've got a couple of nice photos of that one there. Quite a resplendent classic style livery, this one, in the nice maroon and cream. Obviously showcasing that this is a bit of a premium sightseeing service there. Now the real buses, the ALX 400s, they were produced en masse between the late 1990s and 2004 by Alexander, which then became Transbus, and now it's ADL. And these are really popular buses. They're still used to this present day, really, across the UK and even into Ireland as well. Again, like those Enviro 400 MMCs, quite a lot of usage there by quite a lot of different operators, and these were based on a few different chassis, but the model that we have here to show you, that is on the Dennis Trident chassis, which was one of the more common styles there. Now, as you saw there, we've got these open top versions. These buses were produced as double deckers, but obviously over time for sightseeing use, some of them did have the tops chopped off to make it a bit easier to go exploring around the city. And obviously we've got these 2 new versions coming through there, and it's really nice to see these ones come back into the range, isn't it?
And these vibrant liveries as well. We've got the Stagecoach Northwest White Lady version there, which is seen all around the Lake District, which is one of the best places to go on an open top bus country, really. And then the megasightseeing.com liveries. We've obviously seen the Megabus livery before in a lot of the UK cities as well, but their expansion into the sightseeing in business as well really gets these vehicles right out into some scenic parts of the world as well. So you don't need an inner city urban layout to have one of these modern looking buses. They can get really out there into the scenic areas too. So we'll fit on pretty much any modern layout, whether it's the Enviro 400 or the ALX 400 itself. And again, as with the Enviro 400, you've got exactly the same spec here as well. You've got full die-cast high levels of detail, you got the interior there as well, so different tooling variations in there too, the 2 different but completely expertly plied liveries, and you've actually got the opening engine panel on there as well, so that's a real attention to detail. But again, a great opportunity to model a little bit of a cameo as well of maybe, unfortunately, the bus broken down, maybe in a lay-by, something along those sides. And these 2, as well as the Enviro 400s, are available to pre-order right now as well, and they're coming through in the spring too. So check out that link in the description, and there are more details there.
That's it, check that out now and you can pre-order those right now. These, I imagine, are going to be extremely popular sellers because it has been a little while since we've seen the ALX 400 in the range, and of course the Enviro 400 MMC has proven to be a really popular seller as well. So do get your pre-orders in for those now. Check them out on the website. We've got some real life photos on it to give you a bit of an idea of what the real buses are like, and hopefully at some point we should be able to take a look at the at some samples for those as well. Right, so sticking with the diecast theme, sort of, we're moving over to Oxford Diecast now, and it's coming up to their 2020 range announcement, isn't it, on the 21st of January?
This really is going to be the big news of next week, so we're giving you a little bit of a sneak preview here and making sure to put the date in your diaries. Both Oxford Diecast and Oxford Rail announcements are going to be on the 21st of January, next Tuesday, and we're expecting, well, we don't know quite what to expect, to be quite honest with you, but we certainly know there's going to be some great new announcements in there across the diecast range, various different vehicles there. We've got the road transport, we've got the air transport, and also the ever-expanding Oxford Rail range as well. So make sure to sign up to our page by clicking the description, the link in the description there, and all the details will go live as soon as we have them on Tuesday. And it's been a busy month for new announcements coming through, with the Hornby announcements at the start of the month. There were some great new ranges, but there's some fantastic models coming through from Oxford Diecast and Rail as well. So really looking forward to seeing what else can come through there.
Absolutely. It was a big year for Oxford last year as well, of course, with releases of the N7 locomotive, which we still have in stock and available to order now, which really is a beautiful locomotive and for a great price too. And of course, the notorious Railgun as well, which took the modelling world by storm with its crazy design, really. It was something no one expected to see.
I might not try and pick up the gun when you picked up the end, so it's a little bit tougher to pick up, but you can certainly move the boom there as well. And we do have both of those available to pre-order still. But as you mentioned, fantastic year for Oxford last year, as well as in the diecast. We saw the O-gauge Wayman fanfare come through, a lot of new toolings in OO and HO and N as well for you road and air modelers too. And 2020 is bound to be more of the same, really, with some great new projects there, some re-liveries too. So really looking forward to next Tuesday. As said, make sure you sign up for the details. You'll hear it here first, either on our YouTube channel or on our website as well, where all the items will be available to pre-order. And of course, if you've got any ideas, you have a think maybe what you'd like to see from Oxford, do let us know in the chat if there's anything in particular, because we'd be interested in knowing what you're thinking and whether any of you might be right on Tuesday as well.
That's it. We really look forward to Tuesday, and of course, next Friday on Platform 1, we'll cover all of the announcements there as well, so you can come on the stream, find out all about it, have a chat with us and see what you think of all the new announcements. But if you can't wait, there's already new items coming out from Oxford within the next week. So we are getting the sound-fitted version of the railgun, which we're very, very excited to take a look at, and we will have content about that online as well when that is available. That should be with us within the next week or so. And there is also a new range of diecast items coming through with some new toolings in there. We've got the Ford Capri Mark 1 new tool coming through, as well as a range of new American classic cars and a bunch of other re-liveried popular items as well. So do check those out when they come in. And of course, stay tuned for Tuesday when we'll have all the new announcements as well. Right, I think we'll take a quick look in the chat now before we get into our Q&A. I think there's been a few more bus comments on the Northcord items there. They've been very popular in the chat today. We've got Joe Light Railway says he likes the Dublin bus livery as it's his personal favourite and the one that he likes. We've got Andy1962 says Alexander's of Falkirk supply buses to Hong Kong too. Bluegrass Railfan is down there as well. Not sure if there's one for him in there, but maybe in the future, because there's quite a lot of different liveries coming through, and there's even more that Northcord haven't covered yet, really, because there's so much operation there for these.
And we do have models currently available as well, so if there's not quite a livery for you in the forthcoming ones, check out that link in the description, because there are more currently available in even more colour schemes as well.
Yeah, quite a range there. We've got Jamie Smith says, everyone has to have a bus on the layout. They are part of everyday transport just like the trains are. Totally agree. Really important part of a layout, those. Joe Light Railway says, I've been on an open-top bus from Bournemouth to Swanage, which is a number 50 service. And a fun fact, it goes on a car ferry as part of the journey.
Ah, okay.
That'd be quite fun to go on.
And of course, you've got the Heritage Railway there in Swanage as well, so you could combine land, sea, rail, bus on a whole journey there. So pretty much getting all the transport boxes ticked there. So it sounds like a great journey.
There are some really fascinating open-top tours you can take in the UK. I believe there's one I went on in Oban, and I believe it was on an old Leyland Titan, which had the top chopped off it. And it went absolutely everywhere into the countryside and over the narrowest part of it, what is technically the sea, but in Britain over a bridge. And there was fascinating that. But there's quite a few different amazing journeys you can go on, and you can replicate those on your layout too. We've got Ethan Amstutz says, a roofless bus in the UK in the summer, you're joking. They'll never keep the seats dry. Sometimes they have covers, which are necessary over here. And then we've got Jamie Smith says, I wish they would re-release the sightseeing buses they had come by with the city names on the side. Now, I believe those are the red ones, which you quite often see the city sightseeing tours on in quite a few different cities in the UK and across the globe too, really. So maybe that's something, now that they have relaunched these two new models, maybe that's something we'll see in the future.
And of course, the more heritage sightseeing buses there as well, we do have available in a variety of liveries in the EFE range as well. We have Stratford-upon-Avon and London, as well as some of the others too. So check out that link, and there are some details on the heritage vehicles there as well.
That's it. Now we've got some comments on Oxford's announcements here. We've got Clive Bartlett says, on the railgun, any plans to release shell wagons to go with the fantastic gun?
It's not something we've heard at the moment, because with it being quite a self-sufficient unit on its own, it does have the shell wagons in real life, and it might be something we see on Tuesday, so who knows really, it's something there. But going back to what we were saying before as well, the sound version, one question we do get asked quite often is whether that will come with the actual sounds of the gun firing, and it will. So we'll be featuring that as soon as we get one, if you want to see that a bit more up close and personal. But hopefully that's answered a lot of questions there as well.
We're very excited to try that out when it comes in, as you can guess. We've got Richard Lewis on the railgun as well. Any ideas for other support wagons for the railgun, perhaps?
Mainly, you would find that it'd work on its own with a locomotive as well. So the pack that's coming through with the Dean Goods in the World War I Railway Operating Division livery, it's a great starter pack to have locomotive and gun, which would operate on its own, but then you could add a couple of flat wagons or some actual troop vehicles as well there. So some real opportunities to add a couple of vehicles. A good option may be to add one of our Genesis coaches onto that as well, with it being an older 4 and 6 wheel style coach. So maybe having that as a troop or army support vehicle there as well in a rather plain livery. So a couple of different options.
Yeah, there's quite a few options there, or even some GWR box vans on there to act as barrier wagons. But the Genesis coaches would work very well because a lot of those coaches did get pressed into service for quite a number of duties, especially with the war effort as well. We've got CHT Railfan Tinsley says, any news on the Lake Crest Oxford N7?
Now that is something we're expecting within the next 2 to 3 months. That is the variation with the depot embellishments that we've featured here on the stream before. Really does look the part with the Stratford depot emblem there as well, and the white painted front and side embellishments too. So we've been told that's February, March time. We have of course got the N7 available now, with and without sound, in a variety of different colour schemes, right through from the Great Eastern Railway in the pre-grouping through to BR Early Crest. But for that Lake Crest one, just a couple more months to wait, but we'll have one with you as soon as we can.
Brilliant. We've got Ben Davis hopes Oxford will do an L77 in GER blue. Might be something that they come out with.
That is a good option actually, really bringing that N7 right back to its roots as the L77 in that really striking midnight blue there.
That's it. We've got Bluegrass Rail fans who saw some Oxford diecast at the Louisville train show last weekend. Didn't grab any. I'll stay loyal and buy them from you guys. So thank you very much for shopping with us there.
Some great opportunities there for Bluegrass and quite a lot of our American viewers as well. Is there is a huge amount coming through of HO vehicles as well. Those new toolings next week, 4 of those are for the HO range as well. So take a look. Anything in the Oxford diecast range, which is starting with an 87 at the start of the code, is a HO gauge model. So absolutely perfect for those American and continental layouts. So really do take a look at that. It's not just the UK, it's all around the world.
That's it. Coming up to about 5 minutes left in the stream now, guys, so try and answer as much of your questions here as we can, but if we don't get a chance, do get in touch with us on social media if you really want to get your questions answered, and we'll be able to do that. We've got James Akers says, can't wait to see what comes out of the Oxford Rail range. If they produce more Eastern region stock, like a J39, he'd love to see.
Ooh,
got
good option.
John Fenney, a 50-pound breakdown crane will be a great addition to the Oxford Rail range. Joe Light Railway says, is Oxford going to release the N7 in GR blue? Now, I don't think that's something they've got plans for at the moment. They've expressed an interest in doing it in the past, but maybe it's something we'll see as part of this release, but not sure at the moment. We've got Ethan Amstutz says, how about a GWR Saints from Oxford? Wellmead 3 would like to see Mark III sleepers, so an advancement of Oxford's current Mark III coaches, which you can order now. We've got Tank Engine Phil says, any idea when the Oxford Diecast Ford Escort Mark 1 and 2 will be released?
We have told they're going to be late spring, early summer though, so as soon as we have a more definitive date, we will update it, but not too long to wait now.
Keep your eyes peeled. We've got Andrew Keeley as well, says, can't wait for the Oxford announcements. Thanks for keeping us up to date and informed. It's especially important for us outside the UK, so you're very welcome there, and we always try our best to keep you as posted as possible with this, really. Right, we've got about 3 minutes left, so we've got a lot of questions here today.
Quick fire ones here then. So
thanks very much for your great questions today, guys. And like I say, if we don't get a chance to answer them, if you do want to get them answered, do check us out on social media as well, and we can get them for you there. We've got Ben Davis asks, do you know when the Peckett Daphne in Tiverington Stone Purple is coming out?
Oh, now we've been told that one is going to be about April time. Of course, we have had further Pecketts announced this year as well, due at the end of 2020, but those ones from the 2019 range still to come through. We've been told April and May.
Really is a huge range of those Pecketts now. We got Lakota Thoreau says, is the Hornby Bitten double tender still available? Fortunately not. That one's gone straight out, hasn't it?
That one. It was a hugely popular item, that, but you can sign up for alerts on the product page. If we do get one in pre-owned, whether it's in the BR green or the LNER blue, we'll alert you to let me know we've got one in stock, but act quick because they do go quickly when they come through on our pre-owned department.
That's it. We've got Matt Maz 2 says, guys, do you know a release date for the Dapol 59 yet?
We haven't had anything absolutely concrete on the 59. We do understand that there is It's still coming through the decorated sample stage at the moment, so as soon as we get more on that, we'll let you know. The latest we heard was it will be the summer, and again, as soon as we get that more concrete, we will update you, but it's a model we're really looking forward to. Every time we've seen it in the past at the sample stages, it's been an absolutely immense quality model, so really will be something to look forward to, and when we've got more detail, we'll let you know.
That's it. We've got Bluegrass Railfan says the formation guide, any of them is really handy. Wish we had something like that over there for US modelling. So hopefully someone might pick that up for you guys over there. We've got Andy1962 has got a suggestion for us to do some videos with other YouTubers and demonstrate some of our locos on their layouts. Now, we have done a few videos with other YouTubers before, so if you check out channels such as Sam's Trains or New Junction, Jenny Kirk, and Everard Junction and a few others, we have had some of our locomotives on their layouts, so do go and check out their channels as well, and of course our channel, and you can see quite a few different videos on there. We've got Anthony Strathmore Road Junction asks, are Dapol doing any more HIA hoppers in double O gauge?
It's certainly something we may see in the future. They have made 3 batches so far, and as soon as they come through, they do sell out pretty quickly. So certainly likely to be more in the future, we should expect, but obviously can't confirm it. As soon as they do, though, we'll be making sure to put them out in all the usual places if they do get announced, as with any new announcement. So make sure to sign up to our YouTube channel, Facebook page, email newsletters as well. And as soon as we know more, we'll be in touch with you to let you know.
That's it. Right, unfortunately, guys, we're coming up to the end of the stream there now. Thanks very much for your fantastic questions there. And sorry if I didn't get a chance to answer all of them there, but if you do get in touch with us, we'll be able to answer any other questions you've got. Or if not, check out our website, and there is a lot of details on there about lots of different products as well. Everything we've covered today in the stream is either available to order or pre-order now, so check out those links in the description. You can find out all you need to know about that. And thank you very much for joining us today.
We'll see you next week. We know already it's going to be a really action-packed week with those Oxford Diecast and Rail announcements. Absolutely. Lots more new items coming through as well. We know it's going to be really good for episode 26, and we look forward to seeing you then. It'll be next Friday at 1 o'clock.
That's it. And one last thing before we go, of course, the British Railway Modelling Awards are still underway. The final date for submitting your votes is the 26th of January, so a little bit over a week to go, but there's still a little bit of time in there to get going. We've been nominated for quite a few categories this year, which we're very grateful for, and we really appreciate all the votes that have gone in so far. And if you guys do feel like you want to vote for us, we would very much appreciate that. We're up for quite a number of categories, as I say, such as Retailer of the Year. We're also down for quite a few different projects, such as our Class 66, RHTT and FEA wagons, and other manufacturer awards as well. So do check that out as well. The British Motor Railway Awards. And
we do genuinely appreciate every single vote that goes through. You can click that link in the description. It really doesn't take that long at all. So thank you in advance. And if you have already voted, thank you very much as well.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, guys. But I think that's been us for this week. And we look forward to seeing you guys again next week, where we're going to have another action-packed show.
Absolutely. We'll see you then.
See you next time.